grab your Bible and a Diet Mountain Dew because it's time for the Brother Byron podcast. Listen in as Brother Byron brings you thought-provoking insights from his 30-plus years in the ministry. Now here's Brother Byron.
Hello, friends. This is Brother Byron with another Brother Byron podcast. It is Tuesday, September the 17th, 2024. Been at work all day. Had to go into the office. We work on Tuesdays and Wednesdays remote, or not remote, at the office. The rest of the week, we work remote at our homes. It's what's called a hybrid schedule. But it's an hour for me to drive both ways. So 2 hours driving to go to work for 8 hours. It makes for a long day. And that drive is brutal, I'm telling you. 2 different accidents on the way home today. Really bad one out in not too far from our house in Blaine. There was apparently 2 vehicles that collided on Highway 61. One was carrying propane. Both cars were on fire. There was an explosion. A lady that is pregnant was trapped in her vehicle, and another man trapped. They had to call Lifestar out. And so, I don't know what's going on there. A lot of people's been posting about it on Facebook, praying that those folks are okay and that the Lord will help them. And I tell you just never know anymore when you get out on the road what's going to happen. I told the church the other day, it's just a miracle that we even make it to church. People are just driving around like they have no tomorrow, just looking at their phones and doing whatever they're doing and crossing over the center line. There's been a lot of major wrecks here in Knoxville for the last week. On the news, they've been reporting on it. Several people been killed. There's a lady killed in Powell yesterday. There was someone killed on Central Avenue Pike. Just all kinds of accidents. But I tell you, pray for the world. Pray for that the Lord will wake some of these folks up. Realize life is precious. God gives us this life not to be wasted and not to throw away, but to be used for his glory. And so remember that. I want to make notice or mention of, look what I got in the mail yesterday. Spiral Bound Nuggets of Gold Sermon Notebook by Brother James Burke, my buddy. He's down in Americus, Georgia, and he sent me this, bless his heart. I had bought 2 of the books off of Amazon and plan on buying several more for folks to use at the church. But he sent me that one. It's got the spiral bound on it and a nice little note here. And it's good to see that and hear from him. And I'll give him a review on this spiral bound. I gave one on Amazon, but I think he'd like to know what I think about this book, and we'll see. I got to use the other one for the first time on our homecoming when Brother Jonathan was there. Now, I can write fairly neat if I put a lot of effort in it and I've got no distractions. But if I'm just writing things down for myself, sometimes I have a hard time ever even understanding what I've written down. So I made quite a mess of that first page of that notebook. But I've got the majority of the information there that I can tell what I wrote down. But let's see. Church Sunday was a fantastic service. A good number of folks there. Good singing. I preached a message about things just ain't what they used to be, and talked about how the children of Israel, when God allowed them to go back into Judah and rebuild the temple, and how the ancient men were weeping over the foundation because they remembered the old temple, and then the younger men were rejoicing and celebrating because of what God had done. And between them all, nobody could tell who was doing what. But the ancient folks were thinking back on the old days and remembering those, and was finding it hard to celebrate and rejoice in what God was doing in the present. And so I was comparing our church with that time, and how we, of course, me being 58 years old, I certainly remember all those good times of churches that I've been in as a younger man, and how churches used to be so different back in the 70s and 80s and 90s. Always full, always people excited about church. People put church at the top of their list and not at the bottom. And then sometime after the year 2000, things changed. A new generation comes in, and they don't place church at the top of their list. It's no longer a priority. Some now that's the current generation have never even been to church. Church means nothing to them. So things are really different, especially after the coronavirus. You know, those 2 years that we were in prison. That really hurt a lot of churches, a lot of smaller ones like ours. I can name you off at least a dozen churches that used to be bustling, and then after all that, now it's just it's down to very little. And it's a sad thing, and you know, the Lord tells us things is going to get worse. So you know, all we can do is pray and be faithful and obedient, and continue just sharing the gospel. That's what we're to do. We're to occupy till he comes, and keep on doing that. I didn't have a whole lot today to talk about, since I am working in the office all day. I did today. I just got home, and fighting through that traffic was just a killer. But you know, I just wanted to touch base with everybody to let you know that I'm a little busy. I'm still busy with work in my secular job, writing all the knowledge articles and how-to guides on our new cloud-based platform. EloView is what it's called. And we introduced a new platform. We've been on a different platform. This one is updated and got a lot of new features. And so it's my responsibility to create articles for customers to be able to learn how to use it. And not only customers, but our folks in the company. We've got hundreds and hundreds of employees and a lot of salespeople, and they need that information to be able to sell the product and everything. And so it keeps me really, really busy all day at work, and it leaves little time for such things as podcasts. And of course, I'm always going to make sure I have time to work on sermons. I spent yesterday evening working on Wednesday evening's service and getting it down finished, because I knew today and tomorrow I'll be tied up in the office. And so I was spending, a few hours on that last night. I'd already had it halfway finished and before last night, but worked on it several hours, getting ready for that. And we're still in the book of Acts. This will be the 50th study out of that book since we started this sermon series. And there'll probably be another, 15 to 20 more out of this. We'll probably finish by the end of the year out of the book of Acts, Lord willing. I know Christmas time, I like to spend a lot of time, focused upon that, bringing messages and special things around Christmas, the theme. And by the way, I announced there Sunday, Christmas is 100 days away. Or it was Sunday. What is it? 98 days away now. Wow. You talk about time flying. It really flew by. Another thing I wanted to mention is, I'd ask you to be praying about how we can reach out to the homeless, a homeless ministry of some kind, or what we needed to do. And still haven't got a good, clear direction on that yet. But I was reading that Knoxville, there's some kind of program where they are busing homeless people in here. Somebody said that they saw a bus that was completely packed that came from Florida. It was either yesterday or the day before, and stopped off at downtown and let them all out. And they were going around asking people, where they needed to go for the shelter and all this. And I started kind of looking into it, and apparently this has been going on for quite some time. And I said something about that not long ago. I said, I wonder if they're busing the homeless in here. And that's what they're doing. They are overloading Knoxville, Tennessee with homeless folks. And I know they do that in other places as well. There's some kind of program where they do that. I don't know if it's because the places they ship them from are wealthier places, and people will not tolerate homeless, and so they just want to push them off on good old Knoxville, because we're the scruffy city, they say. But we do have several great charities in Knoxville. CARM, Knox Area Rescue Mission. My daughter used to work for them. They do a wonderful job of outreach, keeping folks up, letting them stay at night, giving them beds, food. They have programs where they go through and learn different skills and vocations and get jobs and such. And you've got the Salvation Army that's always been in Knoxville. They're always helping out. Angelic Ministries feeding folks. So we do have a lot of charities here in Knoxville that help the homeless, but there's so many now that they're overran, and it's getting to be anymore. It don't matter where you go in this town, you're going to see homeless folks, even close to where I live, and we live in the country. And we can just go just a few miles toward East Town area, and there'll be people, camped out at the around where the interstate exits are and entrances. They'll be camped out there. I see some folks pushing buggies, right out there where it used to be just country. And so it's moving even further this way. But downtown is just, completely filled with homeless people. And, I don't know what the answer is. We just don't have enough places to put those folks, enough resources to handle them all. I'm just praying the Lord will, send help, do something. There's a lot of, I know churches that are helping out. North Acres, they've got a ministry where they go feed folks there under the bridge. And I've heard some other folks talking about going there and feeding people. And they have, a few more people than we do. And they've got a lot of younger folks. And so it's a little easier for them to be able to do those things than it is for a church such as ours, where, the majority of folks are senior citizens, and not so easy to do outreach ministries like that. But I know God has something that we can all do. He's got something that Northside can do to help in that area somehow. Whatever it is, I don't know yet. I'm still praying about it and seeing what he can do for us. But like I said, not a lot to say. I've been going almost 13 minutes now, and I don't want to just keep dragging on just to drag on. Somebody said they missed hearing the podcast yesterday, and it's been, I guess Saturday was the last time I did one. Of course, I probably would never do them on Sunday because I'm just way too busy. Well, who knows? I'm not going to say never. And then yesterday I just, work was real tough. And like I said, I had to work on that sermon last night, and my mind just wasn't in it. Sometimes your mind, you just got to be in the right mindset to do anything like this. And not always that way. I go through sometimes little moody spells and uninspired spells. Does anybody else be uninspired? Sometimes I get that way. And sometimes I'm so inspired, I've got so much I can't get it all out. That's not one of these times. But I am thankful that to be able to have this venue or avenue or whatever you want to call it, to be able to talk to folks and maybe help where I can. These podcasts may help other pastors, preachers, young men, or Christians, or who knows, anybody that might be able to identify with some of the things that we talk about on here. I do want to tell you this. I don't know when we're going to be able to do it, but me and Brother Jonathan are going to do a podcast together, and we're praying about the topic to use. And so it may be one topic, maybe several, but that'll be sometime down the road. I know he's busy as well as I am, but we'll get that worked out, and that'll be a special treat. The podcast with me and Brother Jonathan, and it's always fun. We did a radio broadcast one time together back when I was on the radio, Jonathan was on the radio years ago for a long time, 10 years, I believe he said. I didn't know him at that time, but I was on the radio for a while with the Holy Manna radio broadcast on WKXV, and our time slot was at 5:30, right after Brother Green. Very good time slot, but the cost of that and the work it took for me to do it, and didn't have anybody helping me at all at the time, and eventually had to put an end to it. But before I did, me and Brother Jonathan did one together. We met in the pastor's study, and we talked about things and recorded it, and then we sent it to the radio station, and they uploaded it and played it, and that was fun. And so I know it's going to be a lot of fun doing a podcast together, and I believe he may be going to do his own podcast eventually. He's doing some open box videos of opening Bibles and giving reviews and such, and those are good. And maybe he'll tell you about those when we do our podcast. But anyhow, I guess that's all I've got for today, and hope you're having a good week. Don't forget church tomorrow. If you don't have a church, come to ours, Northside Baptist Church, 201 Bernard Avenue, Knoxville, Tennessee, 37917. We'd love to have you. And until next time, this is Brother Byron, and I'm out.